What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Back at it again here at Hustler Live. Hopefully I don't lose another 80k pot with this guy over here. He's got enough.
Queen, baby.
Ace Queen, he's got enough money. I can't give any more to him. Big game today. Gonna be a fun time. Last time I was here, that happened. And here to rebound, hopefully do better. Stacks are gonna get pretty deep. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna buy in for just yet, but we're gonna see as people stroll in, how much people want to buy for. But yeah, this is gonna be a big one, and I'm looking forward to the stream. It should be a great time, and I'm gonna try my best to not punt. But if it happens, that's part of the brand, isn't it? Let's strap in. This is a big one, so I'm pretty nervous, and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna start in a few minutes, so let's get the show on the road. Let's get the cards in the air. Let's gamble. Smash that like button, because this is like a really big game. And yeah, this is like 3 years ago. I never would have been able to imagine buying in for this much, and here we are. So let's try to run it up and win. Starting off this 25-50 stream, we start with some fireworks early on in the session. Action starts off when everyone folds to Nick on the button and raises it up. Then onto me, I'm in the small blind with Ace King. Definitely an easy spot to 3-bet, and I decided to bump it up to $1,500. Upon this $1,500 raise, I noticed that this sizing is a little bit smaller than what I should have gone. Probably could have gone anywhere higher than $1,600, but as played, $1,500 to go. Onto Nick, and he thinks that $1,500 is not enough. Surprisingly puts in a 4-bet to $4,800. It's a pretty weird construction already, as Nick is certainly going to raise pretty wide on the button, and obviously with that, I can 3-bet wide. But with Ace King here, facing this 4-bet seems pretty strong. I'm not going to put in a 5-bet in this spot. I make the call with a lot to play for behind. Let's see a flop. Going to a flop of 5-3 deuce to spades. Here with 2 overcards and a gut shot straight draw to the wheel, I check to play and flow with my straight draw, and Nick decides to throw out $3,300. Certainly for this price and on this type of board texture, I'm not going to go away. I don't think Ace King is ahead too often, but I can always hit a 4, Ace, or King to suck out and feel good about my hands. So for $3,300, I make the call and see a turn out of position. When the turn is the 8 of clubs, this doesn't change the board at all, and I check again. Now onto Nick, who thinks about his decision for a while and fires out another bet of $7,600. Okay, facing a double barrel, less than half the size of the pots, I think it's a relatively close spot between calling or folding here. Leaning more towards a call because I don't have any spades in my hand, and if there's an off chance that Nick is going to have a spade draw, then it's more likely for that to happen. There's a chance that I'm ahead, but when he does 4-bet, he has a pretty narrow range of high pocket pairs that he certainly can have as well and is betting for value. So it's a coin flip, and for the same reasons that I called on the flop, definitely still have outs to hit if I think I'm behind. I'm going to make the call once again and be a little sticky with Ace King. So not believing him, let's see a river. Let's try to hit to make our decision really easy. The river is the deuce of clubs. Essentially a total brick, a paired board, and this doesn't change anything. Here I'm first to act, and I think being out of position really sucks. And sometimes there's merit to leading as a bluff, but the more I think about it, the more I think it doesn't really accomplish much. So I check, praying for Nick to check this one back somehow. But Nick thinks about it for a long time, maybe a minute or 2 passes, and ultimately he fires out a bet of $15,000. This $15,000 bet does not leave himself much behind, and this is a spot where all overpairs are easily going to be betting for value, and it's hard to imagine if he's bluffing here for 3 streets, and the only bluffs that he could have is pretty much just spades. So if he has spades in my head, then I got to give kudos to him. It seems a lot more likely that I'm beat in my mind with Ace King, and he has a value hand. So I just let my cards go, and obviously on screen can see the bad news. I lose to Jack High, so got to give credit to Nick for firing this river. Well played. All right, so already like 30 minutes into the stream, I'm down a good chunk already from this first hand. Let's find a way to claw back, can we? Trying to claw back when action starts off with Jeremy raising in early position to $300 with the 100 straddle on. Action folds all the way to me on the straddle. I have queen 10 offsuit, and I think it's a decent hand to see a flop with, so I call for $200 more. We're off to a flop of 9 deuce deuce rainbow, and I don't think this is a board that neither of us should hit too often, but if it is going to hit someone, it's going to hit me more with more 9s, I think. Anyways, action goes check check, and I don't think he ever has a deuce in this spot, or at least in my head, I don't think he does. Anyways, the turn is the 8 of hearts, and overall thinking that this is a pretty good turn for me. I improve to a gut shot straight draw, and I start with a check. Now this player bets out $300 and feels like a good spot to check raise. Think that this player is going to have a lot of air a high percentage of the time when he checks back the flop, and I can put some bad 2-pair holdings into a tough spot like a 9 or 8. So I'd have to check raise to 1,000. And making it 1,000 to go, $700 more. He makes the call, and obviously you can see on screen, disaster might be incoming here. When the river is the 5 of spades, now 6-7 gets there, and it's a very possible holding that I could have given my spot and how I played it. So overall, still definitely going to bet my range, and I size up to $3,400 as an overbet. Have a lot of straights now in this spot, have some stronger hands, and I think overall, just trying to put a 9 or 8 into a tough spot. And, you can see he has ace deuce, so he's not going anywhere. He makes the call, I lose, and basically just ran into the nuts here. Okay, losing the first 2 hands, not ideal, but with king 8 of diamonds and +2, it seems like a fun hand to play while suited. So I put in a raise to $600 with the $200 straddle on. Barry, the player on my left, makes the call, and that entices the big blind and straddle to call as well. So we're going 4 ways to a flop here with not the best hand in the world. The flop comes king 9-5 though, so with top pair on a dry board, definitely happy with the flop here, and multi-way on a board like this, I have a marginal top pair, action checks to me, and I'm going to check a lot of the time here. So I check to Barry, who decides to go all in for the rest of his stack. It folds to me, and this is basically all I could ask for. Check to induce maybe a bluff or just some action, and with top pair, not going to fold, I make the call pretty quickly. Barry is the type of player who will only run it once, so once we go, I fade the ace, and I win. It feels good to finally win a pot today, although it is a pretty small pot for this specific game. Regardless, getting chips pushed my way is a good sign that things will go well. And moving right along to the very next hand, the very next deal that happens, there's another $200 straddle, and I am just inclined to put in the $400 straddle and bump up the action. Maybe we can get on a hot streak. Action starts off with Barry, who makes the call and limps in for 400 and folds around to me. Having just stacked Barry, I look down an ace-10 offsuit, and it's a pretty good hand to play, so let's play back-to-back hands. I raise it up to $1,600, and Barry makes the call pretty darn quickly with his natural. Been teaching him about Baccarat this stream, so it seems like he's got to play the nuts with the natural 9. Anyways, going heads up to a flop of ace, queen, queen, 2 spades. And on a really good flop with a small SPR, I'm going to start with a check like I would with a lot of holdings. And he goes all in. And okay, another easy standard spot here facing an all in. I have top pair. I make the call, and let's see what happens. Once again, going to a turn and river one time. Got to fade a spade, and I do. Nice to win another all in, and I'm crawling back just a little bit now after winning those 2 hands in a row. Okay, clearly the straddle's working, and I'm on the $200 straddle again on this next hand, and action folds back to Nick, who puts in a raise to $800. I peel Jack 8 of spades, and this is certainly a good hand to play and defend, especially in this configuration, and let's battle again against Nick. Hopefully I can win this one. We're going to a flop heads up of Jack 10 deuce, 2 clubs. Having flop top pair, overall feeling happy about the situation, and Nick fires out $900. And for this price with top pair, not going to go anywhere. Also have some backdoor straight draws as well, but they'll be relevant depending on the turn. I make the call for 900, and the turn is the 3 of diamonds. 2 flush draws on the board now, and Nick starts with a check. Thinking now with all the draws on the board, I definitely have to go for value and expect my hand to be good here right now a lot of the time. Don't think he's going to be checking a jack holding, so I size up to $2,300. And for $2,300, he is not scared. He makes the call, and I'm a big favorite to win this one until the river 10. Not a good card for me to see, and yeah, action goes check, check pretty quickly. Thank God Nick didn't bet, but I see the awful news in real time, and it just feels pretty bad that I was on a streak, winning some hands, and getting sucked out here, and also being stuck a bunch. Just can't win much right now. Being stuck a bunch means that things are going to start getting a little spicy a few hours into this stream. Action starts with a raise to $300 from early position, and Nick in the cutoff 3 bets to $900. Mariano makes the call on the button here. Cold calling a 3 bet is pretty interesting and dicey, and when action folds to me, I peel ace jack of diamonds. Seems like this is a pretty tricky spot here, playing out of position against everyone, and also with the 3-bet on board. I feel like all 3 options are certainly on the table, whether a call, raise as a 4-bet, or fold makes sense as well. And at the end of the day, I decided to go for the path of aggression with a playable hand. I put in yet another raise and 4-bet to $4,500. The initial opener in early position makes the fold. Now Nick in the cutoff makes the call, Mariano folds, and we're going to play a pretty big pot heads up out of position in this 4-bet pot, and I have a pretty marginal hand. So trying to figure this out with $10,000 in the middle and 27 plus to play for. We're off to a flop, which comes as pretty darn good as I can ask for. Jack 8 deuce, 2 clubs. Top is going to be pretty good and a little hidden considering it's a 4-bet pot and given the dynamics of the table. So out of position, I decided to check, and Nick here decides to check back, not put any money in the middle. We're off to a turn, which comes the 10 of diamonds. Board is just a lot more connected now, and given it's the 4-bet pot, I'm pretty much just capped to 1 pair in my opinion, and don't think that this is going to favor me too much. So for those reasons, I decided to check, and actually ends up inducing Nick to bet out $6,000. When it's back onto me, look, I'm certainly not folding here, but I decided to take my time to figure out what the hell's going on, and there's about 21,000 left to play for, and the pot is certainly brewing. He certainly can have some bluffs and a lot of draws that I'd love to fade on the river here. Playing out of position once again is really unfortunate, but maybe we'll face an all-in if I make the call on the river, but let's prepare ourselves for that. I make the call for 6,000, and the river comes a 9. Pretty disastrous card for me to see, as any queen or 7 makes the straight. Luckily, action goes check, so there's no more money committed in the middle. I show top, and I lose. Shout out to Nick for the slow roll. It's pretty good for content, but unfortunate that I'm just getting destroyed this session right now. Let's get back on the horse, on the saddle again, playing another hand. Mariano starts off the action on the button and raises to 300. It folds back to me, and I peel pocket 9s. Gonna be a good spot to put in yet another raise. Expect my hand to be good here a lot of the time. So I 3-bet to 1,500, and Mariano makes the call. So let's battle it out, vlogger on vlogger. The flop comes Jack 6-3 rainbow, and overall, 1 card over my pair isn't bad. It's a safe flop in general. So I bet small for $900, trying to just deny some equity against overpairs, and for 900, Mariano calls. So not feeling amazing, and when the turn is a 7, seems like a decent card for my 9s as it's under my pair, but not for my overall 3-betting range, so not sure what worst hands I can get to call if I bet on this turn, so I check it over to him, and he fires out $1,500. I have second pair. Certainly Mariano's capable of having a lot of bluffs in this spot, so for 1,500, I'm not going to go anywhere just yet. I call again. When the river comes an ace, this is just not great. Some of his ace-high bluffs probably got there, and action goes check, and I lose to his queen-jack. So once again, chipping down. For basically the last hand of this stream, I am stuck a pile. So I decided to actually straddle to $300 in this hand. I think the graphics got it wrong, thinking I raised, but this is just a pure straddle and gamble. So action starts when Jeremy raises to $1,000. There's 1 caller in position and folds around to me. I look down at King 7 of clubs, and they're suited on the straddle. Let's just see a flop for $700 more. So I've got a big pot brewing here with my big straddle. The flop comes King 8-3 rainbow. Finally, got top pair and thinking I'll actually win a hand to end the stream. I check it over to Jeremy, and he continues for 1,000. The other player folds, and I have an easy decision to make. Nothing makes sense other than just a call for 1,000. We're off to see a turn, which is the 4 of diamonds. Don't think this changes a whole lot just yet, and I check once again, hoping to see Jeremy bets, or maybe check too because I have a weak top pair. Anyways, he decides to elect on a bet and sizes to 3,000. Once again, I'm not going anywhere. Certainly starting to feel a little cautious and wary of maybe being up against a better king. But for now, look, not going to be folding on the turn just yet. I make the call and hopefully win a good-sized pot. And the river comes the 7. Bink City for me. I have 2 pair now and thinking that I am very much ahead. Certainly could cooler good hands like King Queen, Ace Queen, King Jack. hands that I can get a lot of value from, and I decided to check again, hoping that he'll value bet a good king or just bluff with his air. And he does. He does one of those two options. He decides to fire out $8,850. A pretty chunky bet here on the river, and he's also playing with about 14,000 behind. And here, all I'm thinking is that I am going to scoop this pot up, go all in, hopefully get called by a worse king, and that's how the story's going to go, right? So I decide to go all in as I don't think I have any other decision to make, and he snaps. And he has 5-6 of hearts, and I lose because it turns out the river was a huge bink for Jeremy instead. Binks the nut straight and ship a $55,000 pot to him to end the stream. This was quite the night full of pain. Okay, we're playing a little bit off stream and it gets a little short-handed. We're playing 5-handed now off stream, and I have queen 3 of clubs on the button. Game has been bumped up to 5,100 stakes, by the way. So I raise it up to $250 on the button and get both of the players left to call small blind and big. We're going to a flop of 5, 6, 8, 2 clubs. So I've now flopped a queen high flush draw. But interestingly enough, the small blind donks out and leads for 500. Big blind folds, and here for $500 more, it's a queen high flush. Certainly in here, I make the call. The turn is the 6 of clubs, absolute bink. Finally make a value hand with a flush, and he decides to bet again for 1,700. Okay, sir, I'm in. Not going to raise here just yet. I think my hand's too strong, and certainly he could have some bluffs, and he has a little over $6,000 behind, and I'm praying we can get the rest of the money in, so I make the call for 1,700 and hoping to not see another club. The river is a red jack. Beautiful, as now I'm just committing stacks in on this river. And even better, this player bets for a third time of $3,000. He's bet all 3 streets and certainly is representing a really strong hand. But if I'm up against a king or ace high flush, then clearly it's just not my night. He also has a little bit more than 3,000 to 4,000 behind, so it's an easy decision. I'm going to go for the max here and go all in. He snaps my all in. I show the queen high flush, praying to not be shown 2 more clubs. And luckily, I'm good against his 7. He got there with the straight on the turn, but I got there with my flush, and I win. Shout out to Barry. After this hand, he flips me off while I'm stacking his chips. Just a super friendly guy. It's all out of love, and gotta love playing with him. It's nice to win this pot here. It's a pretty big pot, but still a relatively small dent out of the deep, deep hole I'm in. Later into the night, we're playing 4-handed now, and I have king jack of clubs on the big blind, and there's a cutoff open to $500. In the small blind here, Mariano decides to 3-bet to 2,000. And facing this 3-bet now with a very playable hand, is there ever merit to 4-betting here? Potentially, but this is a spot that I'm familiar with, but I decide on making the call, seeing a flop. The cutoff calls as well. So we're going 3 ways here in this pot that's already ballooned up to over $6,000. The flop comes king, queen, 8, 2 diamonds and a heart. Mariano starts off with a bet of 2,000 with top pair here. Certainly not going to go anywhere. Didn't play king, jack to full top pair. I make the call and the cutoff folds. So heads up against Mariano. The turn is the ace of diamonds. Flush draw gets there, card over my pair. Overall, just a pretty disastrous card to look at. I do have a gut shot straight draw though, so when he checks it to me, I'm happy to check it back. The river is now the 7 of diamonds. Okay, that sucks completely for my hand, and he thinks about it for a while and fires out $5,000. I just snap fold, not having a flush, only second pair, and I say goodbye to my $4,000. For one of the last hands of the night, I pick up 8, 9 of diamonds in the big blind. Once again, still playing 4-handed. There's a cutoff open to $500. The button and small blind make the call. And on to me here, closing out the action. Certainly could go for just a call here, but I think these suited connectors play better when I'm heads up and not multi-way, so I go for a squeeze and size up to 2,500. The cutoff player who opened makes the call. And I'm only hesitant about that because he's also really deep at the table, about 20 to 30,000 deep. So, okay, everyone else folds. We're going to see a flop out of position, which comes Jack 7, 3 rainbow. Got 1 diamond on board, and I flop a gut shot straight draw. But outside of that, it's a really dry board, and I decide to size relatively small to $2,000. And for 2K, he makes the call. Oh man, let's hit a 10, why not? One time dealer. The turn is the ace of spades. Okay. It wasn't the 10 of diamonds or anything, but it's still a good card for my range as the 3-better, and I'm going to represent it. I am going to continue firing away. I bet $7,000, and he snap folds. Phew, nice to get this big bluff through. Chip up just a little bit before racking up for the night. All right, got home. Things to rap out about, and there's a lot I can say, but clearly it's quite the low. Everyone that's ever played poker has certainly experienced some pretty low lows, and when I was grinding 1-2, 1-3, there were times where I got back to the car after a session, and I literally just screamed at the top of my lungs, and I wanted to rip my hair out. This time, you know, at a different magnitude, I'm actually okay. Obviously a very big L, things didn't go great. A lot of things didn't go great, but I don't know what you want me to say. Financially, it hurts. Mentally, I'm surprisingly feeling fine. I guess we're gonna put that to the test because, surprise, I'm playing on the Friday Hustler stream tomorrow. Next video, I'm gonna rebound and battle it back because I just don't give up. And if I think I'm playing well and I think I'm playing okay, then I'm gonna try again. And it'll be bigger stakes next time, but obviously today didn't go great, and let's just go over the numbers because they're fucking brutal and disgusting. I was in the game for $108,000, out of the game for $53,950. There's that. That's a big L. By far the biggest loss I've ever had in my life in anything. The second biggest loss I ever had was also at Hustler for like 22K, and that's all I have to say. So I don't know. It's come a long way from like the 1-3 days of playing poker like 2-3 years ago and following the journey if you were following back then. But thanks so much for watching this video. Bigger video tomorrow. Let's try to rebound, but shit sucks. Welcome to life of poker, I guess. See you guys next time. Peace.